All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the WeBook It Podcast. Let's start the show.
Good Monday evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Monday Night Raw Dog. I am your host, Coach, and your current booking world champion, and I am pleased to be joined once again by my co-host and producer of tonight's episode, Big Daddy C, the Michigan Wolverine fan himself.
Oh yeah, man! It's been a nice little season for the basketball squad, So hopefully we can make some noise this year. So we'll see. But yeah, nice little interesting night on Monday Night Raw, and getting closer and closer to WrestleMania. So let's talk about it.
Yes, sir, Trick Williams. All right. Well, we kick off what originally, and I sent this in our group text, I said, oh man, a piss break to start off Monday Night Raw? That's a bold way to start. Basically, it was Becky Lynch coming to the ring and doing her complaining. Thankfully, AJ Lee saved the segment and did classic AJ Lee, playing innocent and having a devious plan behind it all. She tricked Becky into giving AJ a title match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship that will happen at the Elimination Chamber up in Chicago. So, like I said, what started out as a bad segment was saved once more by AJ Lee, who we have not seen in a long time. It's been a couple months since she's been back in. But I think this was a great way to introduce it. This is ultimately going to lead to probably a WrestleMania match, but we'll see where that goes. And these two come to a head once more later on in the show, but we'll get to that. But see what you think of our opening segment here on Monday Night Raw.
I thought it was pretty cool. See AJ back. Obviously, there's a lot of history there between the two, and and the connection with, Rollins and Punk, obviously. I think this was pretty much in the works, for a hot minute. And I thought they would have saved this for WrestleMania, but I think we might just get, this would be probably part one of that. And then they'll more likely get a rematch between the two at WrestleMania. And so I'm all for it, man. The stakes will be high, and AJ and Ben and Punk being in Chicago, for this pay-per-view. So we'll see how it plays out, but I had no issues with the segment.
All right, we go to our next segment, which is actually our first match of the evening, and it is the World Tag Team Championship match between the Usos and the Alpha Academy. And this one was sloppy at points, but still very, very entertaining. I loved the focus that they had on Tozawa. And after years of being kind of the comic relief, he's actually starting to look like a legitimate threat like he used to when he was on 205 Live. And my only response to that is who in creative just woke up and realized, oh, hey, we actually have a good wrestler here that can actually do some good things. Let's actually give him a chance. But either way, it eventually came to a head when Jay and Jimmy did a double super kick and then a double spear on Otis and then hit him with the 1D and got the successful defense for the tag team championship. And then Jay and Jimmy cut a quick promo giving props to the Alpha Academy for the match, and then Jimmy telling Jay to go win the Elimination Chamber so he can go back to his main event status. This was a match that, again, I thought was sloppy at times, but still very, very effective, and something that hopefully boosts Alpha Academy into a more serious role. I mean, I love their comic relief, don't get me wrong, but they know that if they're going to be serious contenders for titles, they need to straighten up, and I think they're finally doing that with them. And from a creative standpoint, doing a babyface versus babyface match can be tough on the crowd because you'll usually get your splits. This crowd was just hot in general for both teams. They did not care who won. They were going to be happy with the result. And there was no dueling chants or anything. It was just people invested in the match. And I think that says a lot about the two teams going at it, that the crowd actually cares about what happens with both of them. So I just think that's a really good sign for both the Usos and Alpha Academy. But see, what do you think of the match and then the post-match promo that Jimmy cut for Jay?
I'm be honest with you, Coach. This is a piss break for me.
Oh,
Primarily because I think WWE I feel like they ruined Alpha Academy so much to where I stopped caring about them. Be
that's
honest
fair.
with you.
That's fair.
I just thought once Otis won Money in the Bank and they essentially had Miz beat him for it, and I was just like, they they don't take this whole squad seriously, and then they essentially broke them all up, and Ivy now went her own way and turned on the group, and and then you got Maxine, doing her little solo joint, and so now they trying to make Otis and Tozawa respectable again, and I honestly feel like it's too late for that. And you, it's funny you mentioned 205 Live. It just unlocked the core memory of me. I totally forgot about that shit. They tried to bring back the cruiserweight division, and that went to shit very quickly. Yeah, man, I didn't care too much for the match, honestly. I in the animated world, we like to call that filler, and so this is essentially a filler episode in regards to the Usos tag team championship reign. I don't know what the end game is for them at WrestleMania. Maybe the New Day, they face the New Day again. We get another chapter. Maybe Street Profits can try to get another run. I know Montez is get packed on a few pounds, but it's all good. We got good athleticism like those guys, man. You lose them pounds like quick, like just burn them joints off quick, man. There ain't nothing for them. Yeah, so I don't know. Like we'll see what happens, but they better figure out something soon because Uso is one of the best tag teams to ever do it. You want to make sure they go into WrestleMania, with a respectable, incredible tag team, to challenge them. Not the Judgment Day. It better not be the Judgment Day by any means. I know they was trying to talk about, they mentioned a little something about it backstage, and we'll get into that, but nah, I'm good. I'm good on the Judgment Day. So we'll see what happens. I know Jay is not going to win the chamber match, so we can go ahead and nip that in the bud right now. So him and Jay will continue. Him and Jimmy will continue to ride into WrestleMania with the tag team championships and focus on that. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And then the promo basically, we'll see them at WrestleMania defending the tag titles.
All right, we go on to our next segment, which is Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio making their way to the ring in honor of Valentine's Day. Dom gives Liv flowers. Liv says that she's the greatest Royal Rumble winner of all time. Discusses her choice, which she still hasn't made yet, to wear Stephanie Vicaria's pyro hits, which eerily reminded me of Kane hitting this. I could have sworn that was Kane's music that was about to hit. Maybe some Slow Chemical. I don't know. But Stephanie came to the ring, cut a promo, and they exchanged insults. Stephanie eventually slapped Dom, and that was it. This could have just been a backstage segment, or kind of like the Bella Twins last week. Just send this in an email next time, because this was stuff that we already knew about. Like, there were some insults in Spanish, and that was it. It was a big old fat nothing for me on that one. What do you think, C?
The best part about it was just Stephanie basically cursing out in Spanish or whatever that is. And for me personally, I find it kind of hot. My weakness is one of my weaknesses in life is Latina women, and just something about when they it's something about them being angry and speaking in Spanish, and then then that word punto come out. I'm like, oh. Oh my, talk to me nice. No, I'm just playing.
Oh my God.
But no, yeah, man. Look, like you said, let's just go ahead and get the match going. We know what time it is. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a triple threat. And, have Raquel up in there, because I'm just waiting on the turn to happen. They're delaying they're delaying the turn on Raquel, and so we know Liv is pretty much going to kick her to the dust, and so but we're going to get that triple threat. I don't know what it is about Raquel and tag teams, but
something always happens with her.
Yeah, she either turns on them or she's the one that get turned on. It's crazy. We saw the NXT with Dakota Kai and all that stuff, and then obviously get to the main roster. Did they have her and Rhea do a tag team? Yeah, I think her and Rhea was a tag team.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so just like she doesn't have a great track record with tag teams. However, she can stake her name to the claim that she's the first. Was she the first? Did they have NXT Women's Tag Team Championships? They still got them, or they disbanded them?
I think they disbanded them.
Yeah, but she was the first. Her and Dakota Kai were the first women's NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. So she can kind of keep that on her resume, and then she's a multiple time tag team champ. So but I know she wants that world title on her resume as well. She's also a former NXT Women's Champion, so sure she wants to have the big title under her belt. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't mind if she actually won it at WrestleMania, won it in a triple threat. I think it'd be cool for her, for her career. And so I know she's had some hiccups in her career, that one little skin condition that kept her out for a while. And so, but she definitely bounced back. as well as some other injuries and stuff like that. So, I think the sky is the limit for Raquel. We'll see. We'll see if they want to put that rocket on her. So only time will tell. We'll find out on WrestleMania what they decide to do. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that.
All right, we get to our next match, which is an Elimination Chamber qualifying match in the women's division between Rhea Ripley, Lyra Valkyria, and Ivy Nile. This one was pretty much telegraphed from miles away on how this match was going to go. Lyra and Ivy both get in some good moves, and surprisingly, Ivy Nile got a lot of action with it. So I'm curious to see how they go with that. But at the end of the day, Rhea comes in, hits a running knee on Valkyria, then a riptide, and 1, 2, 3, she wins. I wonder if they were rushed for time constraints, because this was a very sloppy match. I'll say the recoveries were pretty good, but very sloppy. You can't have an Elimination Chamber match without Rhea Ripley. And like I said, it was obvious who was going to win this one. And then Lyra is on the wrong end of being one. She was a breakout star last year, and now she is just slowly fading into the background. So that's a little concerning for her. But at the end of the day, this match accomplished what it needed to. Rhea Ripley is the first woman in the Elimination Chamber. Second woman in the Elimination Chamber. See what you think of this match.
Pittsburgh.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, because like you said, we knew what time it was. Like, you're not gonna have a women's Elimination Chamber match without Rhea Ripley. Like, especially when it's it's still up in the air. Well, even though Liv hasn't officially. Did Liv officially?
She has not officially picked
but
who
Stephanie
she will be wrestling.
But Stephanie wants her to pick her.
Yes.
So, but like I said, the women's match, it's both inter-brand match, cross-brand. So it could be for any title, depending on what Liv decides to do, and so it's a lot of variable. Oh my God, what is happening? Variables. A lot of variables to consider with this. You got everything going on SmackDown with Jade and Mrs. Ultimate Warrior, and so yeah, This match was it was no point in me watching this match, especially when we consider who else Rhea had to deal with. So I'm like, Lyra's not going to. She's not a Elimination Chamber type, and as well as Ivy Nile. We no, only the big names are going to be in this match. So. And maybe one young upstart, maybe one young upstart, you always got to have the big names and one rising star or two. So I definitely think we'll get a couple of rising stars, to be in this match, kind of add some intrigue. But as far as this match is concerned, I can give two shits about it.
Fair enough.
No disrespect to Rhea, but we knew what time it was.
All right, we get to our next segment, which was supposed to be an interview with CM Punk in the ring with Michael Cole, but before he could get there, Finn Balor interrupted and demanded a rematch with Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship in Punk's hometown in Chicago. Punk came on out and demanded that Adam Pearce make the match. Pearce, although hesitant, finally said yes, he'll make the match official. And Punk again showing that he is building his resume as a fighting champion and that no matter what happens, he will still be the world heavyweight champion at the end of any match. I like the story that they're building here, which leads me to believe that Roman Reigns is going to win at WrestleMania because Punk being a fighting champion can be something that bites him in the butt later. It'll probably prove costly with him being worn down from all these title defenses. So I am curious to see how this will go. But the main thing here is this story is just pushing Finn Balor to eventually be that big baby face that once he leaves the Judgment Day. And it is going to be great because the crowd is invested in him even as a heel. So when he becomes a baby face, it is going to be perfect. And I feel like the rivalry is going to be with him and Dom because they had a little tension backstage once again to kind of start out that babyface run. But we'll see what happens there. But all in all, a decent segment there. Again, the crowd being with Finn Balor for most of it was very telling that they're behind him and they want him to get his deservedly so championship run. See, what'd you think?
I thought this was awesome. Obviously, we knew there had to be a response from last week after CM Punk addressed Finn Balor. So Finn Balor got his response, and he fought. He went out and fought for what he wanted. Went through some extreme lengths to get it, and and CM Punk gave him what he wanted, and Adam Pearce, as a hesitant as he always is, and trying to protect the main event and his superstars, he made it official, and so I imagine CM Punk is going to retain. There could be some outside forces, who knows, that may, cause Finn, I don't know, or have some type of distraction where you get a no contest or somebody wins by disqualification or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think Finn is going to be done chasing the title after Elimination Chamber. Like I said, I think this is going to end up being a triple threat at WrestleMania. I don't think Roman's going to win, though. I don't think he needs the title again. Right now, I don't think he needs the title right now. Mm-hmm. He had a 4-year run with the WWE Undisputed title. So I'm like, I think you can still take a little bit more of a break, sir. You take a little bit more of a break. I love you, but you don't need the title right now, man. I don't know, man. I think it'll be nice to see Punk actually go into WrestleMania and retain his championship. Because I don't think he's only had one, as far as I know, he's had one successful title defense at WrestleMania. That was against Chris Jericho. Outside of that, I don't think he's had. I don't think he's ever won. No, he's never. Yeah, that might have been his only championship match at WrestleMania against Chris Jericho.
Well, last year he had it. He had the championship match. Or no, that wasn't for the championship.
It was a triple threat. It was a triple threat night.
It was just a regular triple threat. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
which is rare when nothing is on the line, and for a triple threat to be a main event match. But yeah, his only championship match happened to be against Chris Jericho for the WWE title, and he retained. So, um, you know, it'll be nice to see him actually do it again, retain the championship again. Um, and this would be kind of full circle for him because his first world title he ever won was, albeit this is a new iteration of it. His first championship, was a world heavyweight championship. So for him to go into WrestleMania with that championship and defend it, would be full circle for him. And um, I want him to at least retain it, and then he can drop it whenever after that. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
All right, going on to our next match, which brings out the new version of Natalya, Natty, taking on Maxine Dupree. And not a whole lot happened. Maxine got a little bit of offense in, getting an ankle lock on Natty, but it was outside the ring that where all the action was, where Natty just completely attacked Dupree, threw her on the announce table, and then put a sharpshooter in on her. It led to a 10 count, so a no contest since both women were outside the ring. Natty would not let go of the sharpshooter. That led for AJ Lee to come on out and make the save. And as she was helping Dupree to the back, Becky Lynch came in and attacked AJ, sending her into the ring post. A little bit, it was predictable. It was predictable how that was going to happen. I knew immediately as soon as AJ started walking with Dupree, I knew Becky was going to be there. It makes sense that Lee was there to help Maxine because she was there to help Maxine win the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not going to like this, C, but I also really like the heel version of Natty because she is ruthless and does not care. So I think that this being a no contest was the right call, and it shows her aggressiveness. But now it makes me think, do you think the match at Elimination Chamber is already set, but do you think that we'll get a tag match between these four women instead, or do you think we could be getting a fatal four-way for the Women's Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania? Because all three of these women have an argument to for that title. Natty eliminated Becky from the Royal Rumble. Maxine has had title defenses against her, lost her title to Becky on a cheap shot and some cheating. AJ Lee pinned Becky Lynch at WrestlePalooza. I can definitely see that happening, but I want to know what your thoughts are, C, on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to a fatal four-way, but if you're going to do it, make it elimination style. I honestly feel like elimination style should be a fatal four-way. Well, fatal four-way should be an elimination style by default, to be honest with you. Because I get it, the stakes, the percentages of the champion losing is high. Or high, but I think that it should just be elimination style. That way that kind of eliminates the a lot of the, well, no, I feel like it'll open up the door for tag team, for people to team up and make alliances or whatever. But in this case, I don't foresee that happening. Maybe on a part of, I think it'll happen on the part of Becky and Natty and obviously AJ and Maxine. But since you mentioned that Natty eliminated Becky in the Rumble, there's some tension there. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that fatal 4-way match. Um, you know, I think it'd be nice little big time match to add to the card. Mid card, championship match. It'd be pretty nice to have those four in there. Um, yeah, so I think that'd be the best course of action for that championship. So that way, no one really feels left out. Um, or if you really want to make it spicy, do a 6-pack challenge.
Mm.
Add in the first women's Intercontinental Champion, and then throw in uh, another former world women's world champion, former women's WWE champion, and Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good old 6-pack challenge. Then really you can have the elimination style match for that. Um, yeah, or make it a ladder match. That will work too.
Ladder match wouldn't be a bad
Yeah,
idea.
so it's a lot of options, man. Like I said, so all depends on uh, the creative team, Triple H and his creative team, and if they're going to use their brains. So we'll see. I've heard. I think somebody shared an article in the chat group chat about Triple H, or fans being pissed off with Triple H for changing course, around WrestleMania season. So
Mm-hmm.
never know what to expect. Anything could change. We saw it change so many times. We saw what happened leading up to WrestleMania 40 with Cody and Rock and all of them, and so anything can happen in the world of professional wrestling.
All right, we get to our next match, which is a tag team match between Rayo and Bravo Americano versus Javon Evans and a mystery tag partner. El Grande Americano did come out to the ring as well. And as Javon was waiting for his tag team partner, it was revealed it was the original El Grande Americano that is Javon's tag team partner. Um, we'll get into that in the recap here, but Javon Evans shined once again, man. It was his athleticism is something else, and he hit the ultimate OG cutter from the opposite ring post to the middle of the ring when Bravo was trying to do a frog splash. And man, that was beautiful to watch. However, it was the post match after the victory by Evans and the original El Grande Americano. The taller El Grande Americano tried to rip off the original's mask and failed. Then the original tried to rip off El Grande's mask and failed. And we are getting closer and closer to that mask versus mask match, probably happening sooner rather than later. So besides Evans stealing the show, there was in AAA this past weekend, the original El Grande Americano made his return to AAA and received boos upon boos and middle fingers galore when he made his entrance. When the other El Grande Americano came out, he was met with cheers and liveliness and, getting the babyface treatment. But in this story, technically, the original Americano is the babyface and the other one's the heel. it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense why they would do that. Like the original was supposed to be a heel from the get go, and now you're changing it on the fly. I don't know. It's weird, but mask versus mask better come sooner or later, because after what happened in AAA with the confusion on who's supposed to be the bad guy, who's supposed to be the good guy, it's kind of lost its luster now. So let's get it over with. And I know you have the exact same feeling, don't you? See?
Yeah, Coach. Poor Javon Evans, man. He got to be involved with this bullshit with these Americanos, man. Like, they need to stop it, man. Like, they all need to go. The original, like, face or heel, I don't care. Like, just get rid of all of them. Like, come on, man. I'm like, you know what? If Bad Bunny do come back, I hope he comes back, and just destroys all the whole Americano group. Just get rid of them. Bad Bunny, come save us, please. Come save us, Bad Bunny. Had a great Super Bowl halftime show. Didn't understand anything you were singing, but I was out there grooving like everybody else was. Had Ricky Martin out there, Lady Gaga, Jessica Alba, even Pedro Pascal was out there. Pedro Pascal was out there.
What'd you call him?
Pedro. I had to correct myself because people might take that and run with it, think something bad. But Pedro Pascal, yeah, man, come save us, Bad Bunny. From the Americanos, we need you. We need you. That's all I gotta say about that.
All right. Well, now we get to our main event, which is a men's Elimination Chamber qualifying match between Penta, LA Knight, and Austin Theory. Now, I found this one very intriguing because you could see the path for all three of those guys being in the chamber match. And believe it or not, this feels like a fever dream, but Austin Theory has technically won an Elimination Chamber match back in 2023. I completely forgot about that, much like most of Theory's career until recently. But anyways, it was Knight and Penta that teamed up against Theory, and then they went at it with each other. There was a lot of action happening inside and outside the ring. Paul Heyman was there. And then eventually Logan Paul and Bronson Reed came out. Reed delivered a tsunami to LA Knight. Adam Pearce then came out, ordered them away from the ring. And then Theory was beating on Penta on the outside. And then Triple H's Ace in the Hole shows up. A masked man dressed in black. Hits a super kick and then a stomp on Theory. And right as he goes towards Paul Heyman, Paul and Reed come back and chase him into the crowd. And Knight then comes in, delivers the BFT to Theory, and gets the pin. So LA Knight joins Randy Orton for the two men so far who have qualified for the Elimination Chamber match. This was overbooked and messy. The man in black is clearly supposed to be Seth Rollins. It's probably not actually him under the mask, because it was revealed that Grayson Waller was the masked man in Saudi Arabia, obviously because Seth Rollins could not make it to Saudi, so they had to do that. They had to have a fill-in. So, I mean, this is going to lead to a WrestleMania match. It's supposed to be Rollins versus Breakker. However, with Breakker's most recent hernia surgery, I don't know how long he will be out for and if that's going to change course once again. But overall, that match was just kind of, it served its purpose. But see, what do you think of this match? And then any final thoughts on Monday Night Raw?
As you mentioned earlier on in the show, very predictable. uh, we knew LA Knight was going to win this. We knew that there will be interference by Division, as they pretty much hinted at. Yeah, the Braun Breaker thing that did kind of, I guess that explains why everything that happened last week happened. But they say it happened. I guess the hernia. I guess it happened when he flipped the table over.
Yes,
which
that's
is
what
weird.
they're saying.
That is
Yeah,
a weird freak incident. I mean, we've seen people flip those tables over so many times.
he probably just didn't do his proper stretching before.
Yeah, some more. But I think it might just be probably because he's landed on he's had some crazy landings on his neck or on his head. So
That's true too.
it might be hell. It might just have been some issues just building up, on his neck, and so that I guess that table lifting probably did the trick. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to play this out, especially with both guys being legitimately hurt. Now we've known Seth to have had injuries around WrestleMania season several times before. The Triple H feud, when Seth had his little ankle, well, not his ankle, but some with his knee around that time. He came back in a couple of months, and they had the match. We know what happened around WrestleMania 40. It messed up his knee around that time as well. And then here we are again, another injury. Now, was it a leg injury or was it?
It was an arm injury.
It was arm injury this time. Okay. The leg injury was the one he faked before he cashed in. Okay. So yeah. But yeah, so he's had his fair share of injuries during WrestleMania season. So whether or not he comes back in time remains to be seen. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, definitely the Braun Breaker injury kind of threw a big wrench into this whole thing. So yeah, so other than that, show was I give the show a C plus because there was a fair amount of piss break action in this show that I was not typically fond of. So yeah, those are my final thoughts.
Yeah, kind of an underwhelming show. It did do its purpose for getting us set for Elimination Chamber, but execution-wise wasn't exactly there tonight. But that is going to wrap it up for another edition of Monday Night Raw Dog. Thank you to everyone for listening tonight, and to all of our subscribers. Remember to like, share, and ask your friends to subscribe even more so that we can keep building our content and getting more videos out for you all here at the WeBook It Podcast. For Big Daddy C, I am Coach, and we will see you next week at another edition of Monday Night Raw Dog.